So I'm going to take some Midnight Black and Van Dyke Brown, just mix them together. Maybe put a little dark sand in there. But mostly black and Van Dyke. Pull it out very flat and cut off our little roll of paint. See, it lives right on the edge of your knife there. Okay, let's go up in here. We got to make our first major decision. Where does our mountain live? In my world, I think it lives right here. But when you do your painting, you put this old mountain wherever you want it. You make it any shape that you want it. It doesn't matter. Because on this piece of canvas, you have total and absolute power. You can do anything. Anything that you want to do here. Anything. Shoot. When I go home, I'm in charge of nothing but the garbage. But here, I can move mountains. There. Can put them wherever we want them. We can move them. We can put rivers or lakes or anything. Anything. Unlimited power on this piece of canvas. It truly is your world. I don't know where we want this to go. Maybe we'll just make all kinds of little shapes and then we'll work on them, see what comes out of them. There. That's a very good way to practice. Just make a big bunch of shapes up here and then practice turning it into some kind of very beautiful painting. A lot of times when we're training instructors, we'll take them and have them turn their head away from the canvas and just make a big old line across there or something with paint. And out of that, then we expect them to be able to make a beautiful painting. Just from that. I don't know of any better way just to learn to work with this and to use the instruments and the tools and creativity and all those things, and then just do it. Let's take a little dark sienna, a little white, mix it together, make a nice pile there. Take a little more white, take some Van Dyke Brown, put in there. I want this one to be darker. I'm going to make several piles of color here so I can just work back and forth. White. This one I'm going to add some black and some Van Dyke. There. It's more into the gray color. So we have 3 different piles of color here. Now then, let's start out with this one. Get a little roll of paint. Once again, it lives right out of the edge of the knife. And let's go up in here. And normally we pull down. Today, let's take the knife and just sort of touch and go across. Just touch and go across. That's all there is to it. This is a nice way if you're having a problem making the mountains the way we normally make them. Try this. Because I think you'll find that this works so good, you almost won't believe it. Take a little of that dark color and put right in there. Not much, though. I want to retain some of that darkness in there. There we go. Over here, we'll make another little... Just let the knife bounce. Just let it bounce. Play. Have fun. There. Painting should always be fun. If it's not fun, then you're doing the wrong thing. There. I have enough things in my life that are unpleasant. So painting, it's one of those things that I reserve for good times. There. A little bit of color right in there. But isn't that fantastic that you can create all these illusions just like so? And you can do this. You can really do it. There we go. And when you're at home, you can really play and put all kinds of things here. I have a mean old director here that yells at me. She has no sense of humor if I go over 30 minutes. So, but at home you can do anything that you want to do. There we go. And we just pop that back in like that. There. Just putting the indication of a few little shadows. Once again, I don't want a lot in here. I want this to stay very dark, so it looks like it's far away, far, far away. There. All these little things that you can just drop in there and here and wherever you want them. There. I love mountains. I lived in Alaska for nearly a dozen years, and you can't live in Alaska and not appreciate mountains. Now, the mountains in Alaska, they're quite a bit different than this, but you just find an appreciation for mountains in general when you live around them all the time. There we go. But even before I had ever seen mountains, because I was born and raised in Florida, I still liked them. I liked to paint them. And then when I finally got to Alaska, I just went crazy. Because because I believe God was having a good day when he made Alaska. You know how some days things just work for you. Everything you touch works. And I think God was having one of those days when he made Alaska, because everything seemed to work. All right, let's take a little bit of the little touch of titanium white. And maybe there's just a little bit of snow that lives right in here. We'll just take that and say, gotta make those little noises or it won't work. See there? A little glacier maybe lives right up in there, and let some of this just climb up the side of the mountain wherever you want it. Wherever you want it. Add a little touch of the blue in there, just to give it a little cool feeling here and there. And maybe, yep, you're right. There it goes. There it goes. Right on down. I'm going to have some trees over there, I think, so I'm not worried about over there. You know me, I always want to have a big tree. There. Just white with the least little touch of the Prussian blue in it. Least little touch, just enough to chill it a little bit. But we're just going to let that climb right up in here. Get a little touch more of the blue. And maybe it goes out over here this direction. So it looks like there's a little peak right there. There. See, just allow those colors to pick up and blend together and all those things just to happen. All right. There. Okay. Now sometimes it's fun in your painting to begin putting projections that are closer to you. By that I mean big rocks and stones and stuff that live out here. Let's take some of that same dark color. And maybe in our world there lives, boy there does now, big old rock lives right out here. Actually, this is just a little baby mountain that lives here. If you love it and take care of it, feed it well, it'll grow up to be a big old mountain like that one up there. But right now, he's just a little fellow there. But he's nice. We like him. See, you don't have to be crazy to do this, but it sincerely helps. There we go. Put a little highlight on him. Wherever you think light would strike across there. Just like you did the big one, only he's a little smaller. Little touch of the shadowy color. Once again, I want to keep it dark in there though. There. Just to give that illusion that there's something happening there. All right. All kinds of little bumps. Maybe. Shoot, maybe there's another little thing right in here. And this is just that same dark color. We're just adding all kinds of little doers. There it comes. See there? Little projections that live everywhere. Then we can bring our little glacier or whatever it happens to be that's living in here, a little bit of snow. Just pull it right on up the side. There. If it picks up a little of that color, don't get upset about it, because that will come out when the painting's finished looking like shadows. And you need those anyway. Gives depth and dimension to your paintings. Don't worry about it. There. Just let that work right on up there. See, now that thing, that little baby mountain there, it looks like it's just sort of sitting out there all by itself. Lonely. But Mama's not far away. It's right behind him. There we go. But he's cold. I can tell he's cold out here. All right. Take a little more of that color, and maybe right behind here we'll put a little touch of shadow, just so that all comes together. There we go. There's a lot happening right there, isn't there? I like these paintings that's got big old mountains. As I say, I really like mountains. It's one of my favorite things in the world to paint. All right. We'll take some black, a little bit of brown, a little bit of the Prussian blue. Put a little crimson in there too. What the heck? I like it. Just a little crimson. Maybe a little more of the blue. Oh, ooh, that's nice. Okay, let me get an old fan brush. Maybe in our world, there lives some little evergreens that live way back here. So when they're far away, we don't want a lot of detail. As they get closer to you, then we'll need more and more detail. But right back in here, we just want to put the indication of some little things that are working down these mountains. Just give it a little upward lift. Maybe there's another row right there. Good white on the canvas, it's wet. You can pull these clouds around. You can move clouds in your world. That easy. See there? Never knew you had that much power. But on this piece of canvas, you do. When you go home, you may be like me. You have no power at all. But here you can do anything. Anything. All right. Okay. Let's take the knife, take a little Prussian blue, a little alizarin crimson, mix them together. I'll make a lavender color, but I want it to the blue side. When you make lavender out of these two colors, you can have it to the red side or the blue side. Sometimes you need to put a little white paint out there and check it out. See if that's what you want or not. That's pretty good. Let's use that. Shoot, I like that. Okay. Cut off our little roll of paint. It lives right on the edge of the knife. Let's go right up in here. And we have to make some major decisions already. Where in the world our little mountains live? Where do they live? Here they are. There. See? And these are going to be far away. I'm not looking for a lot of detail in these. In fact, I'm looking for almost no detail. Because detail indicates closeness. And I don't want them to look close. I want them to look far away. Maybe something about like that. How's that? And the only thing you're worried about at this point is a nice top edge. You could care less what's happening in here. It makes no difference. In fact, I'm scraping very firmly, trying to get off all the excess paint. There we go. Let me go back to our old 2-inch brush. And I just want to grab this and just blend it out a little bit. Just a little. There. Just blend it out. Because that's basically all I'm going to do in these little distant mountains. Once again, I don't want them to get ate up with too much detail. I want to keep them very soft, very far away. Just brush strokes, so it will create the illusion of detail, but you've done nothing. Shh, that's our secret. That's our secret. Now then, let's take a tiny bit of that white. I didn't have yellow ochre in it. Maybe I'll add just a touch more yellow ochre. So we got white and a little yellow ochre. I want to create mist down here. So I'm just going to take a little of that and rub it. Just rub it. See, just let it play around in there. That old knife will just do wonderful things if you just allow it to. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. See there? Now, you may not see a lot of that yet, but when we're finished, that'll come out to look like a nice, soft, misty area. There. Something like so. See there? And you have to decide how far up your mist lives and how bright it is, how quiet it is. It's up to you. Up to you. Because in your world, you can create any illusion that you want. Any illusion. There. Okay. Now that'll give us a little background mountain, one that's far away, not much going on in its world. I'm going to take some more blue and crimson. I just didn't mix up enough before. Same color, same identical color. There we go. Now, cut off our little roll of paint, just like we had. And let's go back up here, come right up in here. Let's start right in here, and maybe this comes up. We're going to have a big, strong mountain that lives in the foreground. We'll put a little more detail in that rascal because he's closer to us. Unlike the one that lives far away that we don't want detail in. This one we'll have a little more detail in. Maybe like that. Well, that's a nice old mean looking mountain. Shoot, I tell you what, maybe he had a good day. Maybe he got even stronger. It went way up to the top here. Way up to the very top. It's up to you. See? Just change your mind if you want to. You can put your mountain anywhere you want, any shape you want. In this technique, we don't do any drawing, any tracing. We just we learn to create as we paint. That may be the beauty of this. There we go. create as we paint the scene. Maybe this goes, who knows? Maybe it comes all the way across. If you want it to come all the way across and be some little rolling hills back here, maybe on this end, you can do that. We just take the knife and rub that too. There. Wipe off the excess paint. You can do entire paintings using nothing but the knife, and they're gorgeous. Some of the earlier series, we've done 1 or 2 paintings using the entire knife. It's a little harder to do in the time frame that we have, but you can do it. You really can do it, and it's gorgeous. I do a lot of them when I'm at home, using nothing but the knife. See, if you want to put another layer, I get carried away doing this. If you want to put another little layer in there, you just put a little more paint on. Decide where that next layer lives. And we'll just rub it a little bit too. Like that. I've had people tell me over and over again, I bet your house is full of paintings. You know, it's funny. Most artists, I think, are like me. They sort of pick their own paintings apart. Every time I walk by it, I see something that in my mind I think I could have done better, or it's not exactly what I wanted. So in my own home, I hang other people's paintings. I have paintings that people have sent me. I have paintings that some of our instructors have done. I even have a couple of paintings my son Steve done, which are very, very special to me. There. And I have a lot of paintings by very close friends and associates. Annette Kowalski, my partner, she does the most gorgeous flowers you've ever seen. I have some of her paintings hanging around. In fact, Annette's doing her first book on flowers now, which will be out soon. I think you'll really enjoy that because she can paint some flowers. Whew. I'm going to get her on the show here one day and get her to show you what she can do. Because I'm not much of a flower painter, but she paints them well enough for both of us. There. I've just taken off some of this excess paint. I want this to remain very dark, though. And we can take a big brush and wipe it. That too will remove paint. I'm going to put some highlights in there. So the more of this paint that you can remove, the easier it is to make the next layer stick. But yet I don't want to lose this dark value. It's important to me. It's very important. Okay. Let's mix this up a little highlight color. And for that, let's use some dark sienna. Oh, we'll put some bright red in there. Some bright red. Let's put a little white. Shoot, maybe even a little crimson here and there. Oh, some yellow ochre. Well, we got a mess going there, don't we? You just sort of piddle around till you find a color that you like, and I like that. So we cut off our little roll of paint, and we go back up here, and now we just begin picking out little things that will make our mountain look special. And today I'm just going to sort of touch it and sort of just rub the knife on there a little bit. Just rub it out. Normally I would pull it down, but today I'm just going to sort of rub the knife on there just to create all kinds of little things. There we go. Something like so. Add a little white to some of it so it'll be a little bit brighter. And then you can take and pick out the areas that you think that light would strike as it zings across there and has a good time. There. I don't want this to get too bright though. Don't want it to get too bright. Okay, in fact I'm going to sort of fuzz the edges right out. There. All right. Okay. Just something about like that. There. Maybe it comes all the way down. I don't know where it goes yet. We'll make that decision pretty soon. But right now, we don't really much care. We don't really much care. Okay, mix up a little more color, about to run out. And maybe out in here. There it comes. Just let that flow right down the side there. And we'll just let it sort of disappear off into to Never Never Land. Right there. I want it right there. Now then. Okay. I'll take some of that dark color that we had, And I want to retain this nice dark edge. Maybe it comes over and down and just disappears back here. But that dark edge is our separator. It's our good friend. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. See there? That's what separates. Pushes it back. Pushes him back. And you can put a little highlight or two here and there, wherever you think they should live. There. Deserts are fantastic places. There's a lot of fantastic wildlife in there. For example, there's a lot of cougars and big cats. And recently, I had an opportunity to spend a little time with a big old kitty cat that I think is just absolutely gorgeous. This kitty belongs to Carmen Shaw. And the cat was given to her, where she actually found it. I'll tell you that story in a minute. And all of Carmen's friends have named this beautiful cat Carmen after her. Now this was a kitty that somebody had purchased as a pet, and the little kitty turned into a great big cougar, grew up, and they decided they didn't want it anymore. So they put it in a little kennel cage, and they took it out and they left it in the woods to die. And when Carmen got this thing, it was just about dead. She worked with it for a long time, and she saved it. And this is one of the most beautiful animals God's ever created. Isn't he gorgeous? I can't imagine anybody hurting something like it. But I'm sort of strange. I like all these critters anyway. All right. But I love that big old kitty. I'm going to take a little sap green, a little yellow, maybe put a little yellow ochre and a little brown there to dull it down some. Ooh, I like that. And maybe in our world here, I'm going to just start laying a little color in. We do this. We'll just do a little of this with a knife. You could put it in with a brush or a knife. I want to just put the indication that there's some little things happening back here at the base of this mountain. We don't know exactly what they are. Some little green things that are growing right back in here. Don't want them too bright though. Don't want them to be distracting. Just some little things. There. Just have to wipe the knife off every once in a while. But all I'm doing is just rubbing the knife. Just rubbing it. You see there? I say you could take the 1-inch or 2-inch brush and you could lay these in much faster. But I like this effect. It's very soft, very misty. You just sort of don't know where edges start and stop here that way. Just very pretty. Very pretty. But we all have individual tastes, so you do it however makes you happy. A little of that mountain color right here, we'll just blend it down in here too. What the heck. Shoot, here and there we might even hit a little of that lavender that we used in the base of the mountain. Just to sort of, so all the tones come together. It's your world, so you decide. Got to make big decisions. That's a responsibility that comes with painting. There. We're speaking of big cats. Yesterday I had the opportunity to go to one of the most fantastic zoos I've ever seen. And it's right outside of Muncie here where we filmed the show, and it's called Me Zoo. And Me stands for Max and Eileen, the people who started it. And they have a lot of very exotic animals, beautiful animals. But what makes this zoo so special, I think, is the fact that they devote their whole life to sharing this fantastic zoo with other people, especially handicapped children, the elderly, people who are very sick. And it's all free to them. Every bit of it's free. These two fantastic people have literally spent everything they have to create this zoo, and they give it away. And that's what makes it so special. You can find a zoo anywhere in the country, but you can't find people like this. And you know what makes it more special than anything else? Max has a terminal illness, and this is how he has chose to spend the rest of his life, is helping other people through his animals. That's what makes it so special. So if you're ever around the Muncie or Indianapolis area, stop by and say hello, tell them I sent you. There. Okay. Maybe in our world, let me clean off my knife. Tell you what, let's do. Let's take the old filbert brush. What the heck? I'll go into a little bit of the Van Dyke Brown, little Van Dyke brown, pick up a little black, put in there with it. Shoot dark sienna too. We don't care. Whatever you get. And maybe back here, maybe there's some old cactus. If we're going to do a desert scene, we need to have an old cactus. There he is. This old filbert brush, it makes the right shape pretty easy. Maybe he's got another arm right there. 2 or 3 of them right close together. There's one. How many cactus you have in your painting, that's up to you. Let's give that one a little arm. Shoot, like that. Another one right there. That'll give us a few. You can just take this old filbert, push upward. Look, make the indication of some little bushes that live far back there. See there? Just push them in. Just push them in. Just sort of like you're putting foam on an ocean if you painted oceans with me. I just take that same brush, go into the yellows, Indian yellow, cad yellow, yellow ochre, a little bit of blue with it. That'll make a gorgeous green or a little sap green. And then let's just put a few little highlights here and there. Just a few. Want them to stay sort of muted though. I don't want them real bright. There. Isn't that neat? These are far away, so we're not seeing a lot of detail now. Just enough to make them stand out. Leave some of them totally dark. Don't cover them all up with highlights. Sometimes it gets feeling good and you don't know when to stop. I have that trouble all the time. So, there. Tell you what, we got a little lavender left right here. Let's just put some little doers like this back here with a knife. Some little rock formations maybe that are far back in there. Whatever. Just sort of, you expect this if you're painting little pictures from Arizona, New Mexico, and all those gorgeous areas. There, something about like so. That's good enough. We'll take some of that nice, this was the color I used to highlight the mountains. And maybe right under here, we can begin applying just a little bit of sand color. Something like that. There we go. See there? I'm going to take a little white. It's got a little yellow ochre in it. Not much, just a little. Mostly white. And just begin putting in some highlights right on that. Barely grazing it. Barely grazing. Then it'll come alive. There we go. Now we just go across the entire canvas to sort of take out the brush strokes and blend everything together. And we're ready. Shoot, we're ready. Tell you what, let's do. Today, let's build us a little mountain. And for that, I'm going to take a little bit of the Midnight Black, a little touch of Prussian Blue, get some Van Dyke Brown, maybe even some dark sienna. What the heck, Lizard and Crimson? Doesn't matter. There we go. Pull this paint out as flat as you can get it. Take the knife and just cut across. So you get a little roll of paint that lives right out on the edge of the knife. So you can see it right out on the edge there. Okay, let's go up here. Now then, you have to make your first major decision. In your world, where does your mountain live? And I think it lives right here. Right here. You decide. Wherever you want it. If you've painted with us before, you know that I believe this piece of canvas is your world. And on this piece of canvas, you can create any illusion that you want, any dream that you want. You can put it right here. All you have to do is just learn a few little basics, then devote a little time to practice, and just let your imagination go. It's really all there is to it. We'll have something about like that. We'll grab this old 2-inch brush here, and I'm going to take it and pull this. Just pull it. There's not much paint up here. Not much paint. There. See, just pull it. Let it blend with this nice light color here. Okay, we'll pull this a little bit over in here, whatever way. And that creates a softness down at the base of this mountain. It just happens automatically. Okay. Now we're ready. Tell you what, today let's take a little titanium white. I'm going to reach up here and get some Midnight Black. Make a nice gray color. Very nice gray color. Maybe I'll even put a little touch of a little dark sienna into it too. Maybe a little touch of bright red. just sort of let your imagination go. Wherever you think these colors should go, let them go there. All right, once again, cut across, get our small roll of paint right on the edge of the knife. Maybe our light's coming from the left today. So we'll just take this and let it just sort of barely graze there. No pressure at all. We want these little mountains to be far away. I want them to be very bright. They're far away, very quiet little mountains. There. And maybe right up in here. See there though? That's all there is to it. Once again, let your imagination take you wherever you want to go. There. Because we all see nature through different eyes. And each one of us will have a different interpretation of what we see. And that's what makes it wonderful. Painting is a very individual thing. Very individual. There we go. And maybe, shoot, who knows, maybe it comes right on over in here. We don't know. Wherever you want it. And we can go back and we'll take a little white, a little bit of Prussian blue. Want to make a little shadow color and get a little black. But we have a little blue in there to give the indication of a little reflected light. And we'll put a little Van Dyke in there too. Ooh, like it. Don't overmix the color. Our little roll of paint, as usual. And we can come back in here and just begin putting in a few little indication of some shadows. I don't want a whole lot in here because I want this to look like it's far away. Too much detail will bring it too close to you. There. Just a little. Just a little. There we go. A little right in there. Maybe it comes right on out. Wherever you think it should be. It's exactly where it should be. See, we can come back in here and add a little more color. Just let that play right through there. Once again, I want to keep this very subdued. Now then, let's have a nice mountain in here. And for that, I'm going to go into some black. We'll use a little of the blue. We use a little Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, maybe even a little brown. What the heck? Just mix it up, pull it out as flat as you can get it, and cut off a little roll of paint. It lives right out there on the edge of your knife. Okay? Maybe our big mountain lives, where does it live? Maybe it comes right down here. I don't know, maybe it goes right on off the canvas. That's always sort of interesting when you have one that just sort of lives way up there in the sky. Maybe back in here, wherever. Put another little one right there. And just sort of let him float around in that direction. Just sort of make a decision and put it wherever you think it should be. And that's really all you have to do. There. Now then, with a clean, dry 2-inch brush, we want to grab this and pull it. That does two things. It removes excess paint, so the next layer sticks easier. And it makes your mountain get lighter and lighter toward the base. And that's exactly what we're looking for. There we go. And just blend it till it just sort of floats up there in the sky. There. And that easy. We've got our base color for a very nice little mountain. We'll use a little titanium white today. What the heck? Take a little white, also pull it out as flat as you can get it and go down, cut across and get our little roll of paint. It's very important. Maybe we'll start right here. And you can play little games and have fun with this. No pressure. Absolutely no pressure with a knife. You're just barely touching it. And we'll take a little touch of, we'll use a little phthalo blue, maybe a little touch of black in it. It will make us a nice shadow color. Something like so. Okay, once again, our little roll of paint. We go right up here and decide where the shadows are. There's one. Here comes one. Goes distinctly through that one. There. And you can put shadows just wherever you think the light would strike. Now, nice clean brush. I want to just create the illusion of mist. I'm going to tap that very gently. Very gently. 2 hairs and some air. And sometimes it's fun when you're doing mountains to play games with which one's in front and which one's in back. But But make up little stories in your mind. Maybe this mountain lives right here, and it comes, look at there, see? Distinctly in front. There we go. Also, sometimes it's very nice to have a little cloud that floats along and goes right in between those. So I want to add a least little touch of liquid white to the paint right on the fan brush. The liquid white's to make it a little thinner, because a thin paint will stick right up here without messing everything up. And we can put a happy little cloud that lives right in here between these two. Clean dry brush, very gently. Float it a little bit, there. And that'll give us the impression that there's a little cloud up there. And we can bring this right on distinctly through. Okay. Now then, back to my titanium white. And let's begin putting some highlights on this mountain over here. No pressure, absolutely no pressure. The most gentle touch. Just float right through here. Zoom. Absolutely no pressure. Let's go to this big one here. Here it comes, right there. And your paint has to be very firm, or you won't get this breaking. And this breaking is what makes your mountain so pretty. There. And just begin working it. Let it go. Just let it go. On the other side, we're going to have shadows coming right down through here. No pressure, though, once again. Got to make those little noises or it doesn't work right. There. Now, and you can continually work back and forth. Maybe we want to put some nice bumps and ridges out here on this mountain. There they come. Just sort of let your imagination be your guide here. There. Back to our shadow color, because every time you have a little projection out here, you need a shadow behind it. It needs its own distinct shadow. And here and there you can touch a dark base color a little bit. And just let a little of that flow right down. Just play games with light and dark. And that's what'll make your mountain so fantastic. There. Wherever you think these little things should be. A little bit of our shadow color here and there. Right in there. Shoot, we're going to mess around and have us a mountain here. Okay, let's just tap now. We want to create the illusion of mist down at the base of this big old mountain. Tap, and then we lift upward, following the angles in the mountain. And all this does is remove the tap marks and blends everything together. Just blends it together. Over here, we'll follow these angles. It's most important, though, that you follow these angles. There. Right in here. And sometimes, it's a lot of fun just to play some games. Watch here. Watch here. Maybe in our world, there's another little mountain that lives right there. Put a little dark in. And this is a way of creating the illusion of distance in your painting when you have layer after layer of these things. Scrape off the excess. We'll go back to our titanium white. Put a little highlight right here on this one too. Zoom. Just let him go. No pressure. I can't say that enough times, and I say it over and over because this is one of the major problem areas that I hear in letters and stuff. Hard time making the paint break. And the reason normally is it's either one of two things: too much pressure, or the paint is too thin. Mix up a little more shadow color here. Ran out. Then we can put us a little shadow right in there. See how you can move things around? You have unlimited power on this canvas. You can literally move mountains. Now, once again, let's grab that, tap a little bit, create that misty illusion. Okay, then just blend it like so. And we can take a little bit of that shadow color on the brush, maybe Maybe there's a little foothill that lives right here. Just using the corner of the brush. Maybe there's a little foothill. But all these different planes create the illusion of distance. And watch here, watch here. Sometimes you can even get a little crazy and watch. See how to push that foothill back and bring that mountain forward? Isn't that fantastic? And you can do that. You can do that. Blend it. Now you have a foothill behind the mountain. That easy though. You can change your mind, push mountains around and move rivers, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Okay. Tell you what. Wipe off the old knife. Let's mix up a little bit of lavender color here. And for that we'll use a little phthalo blue and alizarin crimson. Proportionately much more crimson than blue. We'll make a nice lavender, and if you want to see what color your lavender is, take a little white and mix some color with it, because you can't tell, that just looks black, so put a little color there, and that's just right. Let me clean off my knife. We'll grab us a fan brush. Tell you what, let's go right into a little of that. I'll pick up some white. There. Just make sort of a nice lavender color. Maybe even a little more of the crimson. Oh, I like that better. But just mix this till it's the right flavor. There. Build this little mountain in here. Tell you what, let's mix up. I'm going to use some alizarin crimson and sap green in about equal proportions. About equal. Now you can mix this to the green side or to the reddish side, just depending on what kind of effect that you want. You can change the flavor either way, but mix it quite thoroughly. There. All right, let me clean off the old knife here. Now, let's build us a little mountain. We'll take a little bit of that color and come right up in here. Decide where your big mountain's going to live. And using very firm pressure. Very firm. Just come right along here. Right along, right along. Decide where your mountain's going to live and begin dropping it in. Just begin dropping it in. Over here, we need a little bump. I think there ought to be one there. And we can do that easy. And really push that paint right into the fabric. You can probably hear how hard I'm scraping and pushing. There. That makes application of the next layer much easier if there's not much paint on the canvas here. Now then, we'll take a 2-inch brush and we pull that because there's liquid white on there. You can literally move this paint all over the canvas if you want to. There we go. And by watching the brush strokes, it's a nice way of laying out a lot of your highlights and shadows in mountains when you're doing them. It may not show too much here, but when you're painting, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. You can see every little brush stroke. And you just blend that right off to nothing. Like that. Now then, let's take a little bright red, a little titanium white, and we're going to mix it together. And I want just a light pinkish glow in my white. I don't want to set the world on fire right here. Pull it out as flat as we can get it. Takes very little of that bright red. All right, then we go in and cut off a little roll of paint. There it is. Now then, let's make a big decision today. Where does our highlights live? Maybe somewhere along in that. Now this will not be an exact duplicate of the painting that you saw at the beginning, because it's almost impossible to paint another painting that's identical. But it'll give you a good idea of how this one was made. Yeah, there we are. I like that little painter guy, though. It's really cute. It took nearly a full day to make that one little opening. But we had a lot of fun with it and did a lot of crazies. And the outtakes would be even cuter sometimes than what you see here. There. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to take a little white, put a little touch of the phthalo blue into it. Just a little. Don't need much. Now reach over here and grab a little black, a little touch of crimson, just to dull it. Just want to dull it down. There, that's nice. Let me clean the knife off. I cleaned the knife only so it shows up a little better how we're loading it when we come right in here and you can see that nice close-up. See, that little ridge of paint, little roll of paint right on the edge is so important. If you get in the habit of loading the knife that way, it'll save you a lot of agony, make things work much better for you. Now, we'll just come right along here, put in little shadows, very delicate, caressing the canvas, barely touching, barely touching, barely touch. This is such a gentle touch. Just gentle, gentle, gentle. There, over here, we need some right there. Don't want that one left out. Okay, once again though, just barely touching the canvas. And you can come back, and now we can begin adding in all those little special things, little nooks and crannies. Little mountain goat's got to have a place to live too, you know. So give him maybe a little place to have him a little house. He wants to live up here where he's safe and nobody bothers him. I think that's what we all want. We want a place to live where we're safe. So does that little mountain goat. See, when you're making your mountain, think about him. Shoot. You might find out you like a little guy. There we go. And we just sort of let those blend together right in there. Right in there. Okay, maybe right down in there. But just sort of look at your painting, and each one's going to be different. And you can bring all these little things together and make up little valleys and hills and bumps and crevasses and all those things that you want in your painting. There. And each and every painting will be different and unique, one of a kind, and that's what makes it fun. It's really what makes it fun, is the individuality. There. Okay, here and there. You can take just the least little touch of crimson and blue, make sort of a lavender color. Least little touch. Mostly crimson though. And you can put the indication here and there of some little dark areas. I'm using the small edge of the knife, or you could just use a small knife. There. Straighten up your edges the way you want them. Shoot, you're in business. Okay, take it. Wipe it off, and we're in business. Let's build, maybe way back in here, there's just a small little mountain that lives. So let's take a touch of Prussian blue, a little bit of midnight black. We're going to get a little touch of alizarin crimson. So we got blue, black, alizarin crimson, maybe even a little Van Dyke brown. What the heck? What the heck? Just drop it in. Dark colors. Okay, pull the paint out as flat as you can get it. Just really mash down hard. Then take your knife and cut across. See there? Get that little roll of paint. This knife has a straight edge on it. And by having a straight edge, it's very easy to load it. It's going up here. Okay? And then maybe our little mountain, I got to make a big decision here. Maybe he lives right here, just floats around in the clouds. Push him very firmly. Very firmly. We're trying to push this color right into the fabric. And you just decide where you want little bumps to live. See, there's one. Wherever you want them. Maybe there's a happy little thing lives right there. Scrape off all the excess paint. Just really get in there and scrape hard. You can't hurt this. Just scrape it off. The only thing we're worried about is this nice outside edge. In here, we could care less. Now then, with a 2-inch brush, I want to grab this. And because of the liquid white, the canvas is wet, you can pull this and move it. And just move it. Remember, if you can see the entire mountain, it's always more distinct at the top than it is at the bottom. And by doing this, that will happen automatically. Just like so. See, just let it sort of float off in the sky there. There we go. Because this is a very firm paint, you can blend right over it. Okay. Now then, maybe there's some snow on that little mountain. So we can take some titanium white and once again pull it out. as flat as you can get it. Just really pull it out. Then go across, get that little roll of paint. See, there he is. Tiny little roll of paint. Let's go up here. Okay, now then, right along in here. Take the point of the knife, put it right up at the top of the mountain. No pressure. Just let it float. Just let it float right down the side of the mountain there. No pressure. See? Follow the angles in your mountain. Absolutely no pressure. Okay, maybe right here. Think where light would strike. Think where the sun would shine through here and create all these beautiful little effects. And if you're right-handed, it's normally easier for the light to come from the right side. Normally easier. See? Very delicate touch, though. Very delicate. Very, very delicate. This is a time when the little knife would come in even better. So you can get back here with a little knife and get these little places. That little son of a gun just sneaks right in there. Either knife works very well. They both have the straight edges and they work very good. Take a little bit of blue and white. This is a little phthalo blue. Just a touch. Just a touch. Mix it up about like so. That's good. Cut across, and once again we have that small roll of paint right out on the edge of the knife. So you can see it's right on the end. There you go. Now then, decide which peaks of others to weigh. If this one's in the background, put a shadow behind this one first. Just a little tiny shadow. Then a shadow here. Let it come down. Distinctly through. See there? Distinctly through. No pressure at all. Think in your mind that the only thing touching the canvas is that little tiny roll of paint. And each little highlight needs a shadow. If it doesn't have a shadow, it won't come out and play with you. It'll just leave you. Just leave you stranded. Okay, now then. Sometimes it's fun to play some games. All right, clean dry brush. I'm going to tap the base of this, following the angles. I want to create mist. Now lift upward very softly. 3 hairs and some air. Over here, follow these angles. Lift, lift, blend. See, it just softens that son of a gun right down there. Okay, now then. Maybe, see, you can change your mind. Now, maybe there's a peak that lives right here. And if we want to make this one look like it's in front of that, by diffusing that first and then bringing a line distinctly down, it'll push all that back. But that little misty area is the only thing that separates those. So cherish it. It's your good friend. Maybe this, shoot, look here. You can take this anywhere you want it to go. Anywhere you want it to go. But notice all the angles of highlight or light color are in the same basic direction. Same basic direction. Because light's only going to strike at a given angle coming through here. Sing. Pretend you're a sunbeam just wandering around here and having fun. Okay, now we need a shadow back here. Everywhere there's a highlight, we have to have a shadow. Just a little shadow. Just a little happy shadow. It lives right back here. See how that pops right out? Comes your friend. It's easy. Just a few little rules. Mountains are just geometric shapes. Highlights and shadows. And you can make some of the most fantastic mountains you've ever seen. What's great for practice and to give you experience is just take a canvas and start at the top, paint mountains from top to bottom. And you'll learn more. Oh, it's a super way to practice. And by the time you're finished, you'll be good friends with the knife. Okay, tapping the base, following those angles again. Now, you want to save that one line right there. That's a distinct line that separates these two entities. Save that. Lift upward, very gently. Whisper light. You don't want to destroy, you just want to diffuse. Over here, follow these angles. Save this line. That's a distinct line that you need. Give it a little blend. and you've got one very effective, yet very easy little mountain, and I knew you could do it. Tell you what, let's have some little footy hills that live right in here. For that, let's mix up some color. We had this mountain color. That was just some Prussian blue and some midnight black. We'll put some Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, just a little touch of sap green. Don't want too much sap green. I'm going to reach over here and find some white. And let's see what we got here. You got to put a little white with it to know what you have. It's very difficult to tell. A little more blue in there. Oh yeah. Just sort of play with the color till it gets like you want it. I'm looking for a color that sort of a bluish gray, maybe with at least a little hint of green. It's too far away to have much green. Okay, now we can lift it up like so. Okay, let me clean the knife. And today, I'll tell you what let's do. Let's use a 1-inch brush, and I'll just go right into that and just pull it through.